Hello everyone, my name is Bailey from Let Birds Fly. My friend Megan over at Eat, Live, Make had a great idea to share our different methods of editing our photos with you today, since we are both professional photographers. Megan and I edit photos very differently, and so we thought we'd share how different we do it, and it doesn't mean that one is better than the other and one is right, one is wrong. That's exactly why we're doing this and sharing with you, to show you that there are several different methods of post-processing. We're just going to show you a couple today. The software I use is Adobe Camera Raw, and Adobe Photoshop, and Adobe Bridge. So we'll start in Bridge right now. They are very different photos. I wanted to show you how I edit each of them, just to show you. I have food photography, vacation photography, and photographing a person. So I'm going to open them up in RAW. So I can adjust the exposure in RAW, which I love. So I want to up the exposure quite a bit for this one. And as you see, since I'm doing this, I'm losing a lot of the detail in the background, and that is what I love about RAW, is that it remembers the detail in the background, so you can bring it back out. In highlights, what highlights is if you lower it, it just makes what's highlighted, so what is brighter in the picture, it makes it a little bit darker, so you can see the background, the details coming out a little bit better. And same with shadows, it's just opposite. And highlights, shadows, the shadows in the photo get brighter the more you do this, and of course it makes it look really unnatural, so I don't do that a whole bunch. And then contrast it up a little bit, and we have the fun part. What I see in this photo isn't what I remembered when I took the photo. This looks kind of dull, the colors look kind of dull to me here, and in my mind they were much brighter when I took the photo and much more vivid. So that's how I like to see it when I'm upping the vibrance and the saturation. So that's a little bit orange for me, her face, so I like to bring it down, and that's much nicer. The green comes out a lot better and prettier. Let's go to beautiful Manarola in Italy. Here it's going to be a lot different because there are no people as the subject matter in the photo. It's just a place, and a big, beautiful, colorful place. So exposure up a little bit, not too much, quite a bit of contrast, and highlights big time here. I'm going to lower, and you can actually see the sky and see the details in the sky. I'm going to up the shadows just a bit to make it a little bit more even. And the fun part, again, my favorite, adding more color. And here you don't have to worry about any person looking too orange, so you can go like crazy if you want here. I'm probably not going to do all the way to this because that just looks too crazy orange to me, but hey, that looks pretty good. So that's probably what I'm going to do. That's what I love about vacation photos. That is how I remembered seeing it. Not the dull blah of that. I remembered seeing it about right here. So I think that's good. We'll move on. Food photography and a close-up. Close-ups are different because the highlights and shadows are going to be different. You don't even need to do it really. It's not going to be much different here. And since it's so close up, I'm not going to change saturation too much, just a bit. That looks good to me. So let's open it up in Photoshop. Okay, now that my 3 photos are open in Photoshop, we can start opening RadLab, which is a cool plugin from Totally Rad, and I'll show you a little bit about how to do it. So RadLab, it comes with this little cool thingy that you can open easily from here, or you can go, since it's technically a filter, you go to here, Totally Rad, and then RadLab, click that. So I'm just going to open it up from here. What I love about RadLab is it has all of these awesome stylets, is what they call them, different things that you can add and layer onto your photo and play with. If you get RadLab, you'll spend hours and hours and hours playing with all this. So you'll see all the toning differences, the coloring differences, different effects, different sharpening effects. We have black and white stylets, we have sharpening stylets, everything. So what I would probably do on this picture is add snap, which is kind of a sharpening and saturation boost, maybe some contrast, and maybe sugar rush or saturation. Of course, not to the full extent. So if I added saturation, see over here, you have something where you can lower it down quite a bit, so it's not so crazy. So, and then you can click it off if you don't like it, or if you do, whatever. You can reset and start all over. Also, what's cool about this is that, say I want snap also. I'll lower that down, and contrast, lower that down. And I like that. And I want to save that recipe because I want to use it for future use. I can just press save and save it as awesome new recipe, or anything that you want to save it as. And then when I save it, it'll be over here in my recipes. I already have several recipes going for me, and so I'm actually going to just do my color correction recipe that I have for everything, and I don't like that it got warmer. It looks kind of on the yellowish tone to me, so I'm going to take that down, and that looks much better. And that's basically it. It has all these things like snap, like I showed you earlier. I made this recipe when I first got RadLab and played around with it and got to know the stylets and what they did, and played around with what I liked and what I didn't like, and I made this recipe and I love it. So I use it on a lot of things, almost all of my photos. A version of it, because I can change all this if I want to. So finish, and it applies to the photo. Alright, so that recipe was applied, and it comes up as a new layer. If you want to, you can check how it looked before, how it looks now. Just a little bit of change, just a little bit of correction, some sharpening, all that stuff. Looks great. So I can flatten that and then save it. And I'm not going to save right now just because I know you know how to save. So we're going to go to the next photo, and we have beautiful Manarola. And I'm going to show you something that you can easily do now. Now that I already have my recipe and Photoshop remembers it as a filter, like I showed you earlier, it's a filter. If you come up here, you can click this, and this up here just means the last filter used can be applied to this photo right now. So I can click this, or I can, on my keyboard, use the shortcut Command F. And so if I click that, the recipe will apply to this recipe, and it'll be the same recipe that I had on my last photo. Lovely. And what's great about this is that when you do the shortcut for the filter, the last filter used, it's not a new layer, so you don't have to worry about flattening again. So on your history up here, you can see the difference. And once again, it's just a little bit of color correction, some contrast, and some sharpening. Let's go to the next one. For this one, I'm going to open up RadLab because I want to show you a black and white, or how I edit my black and whites. So you'll see in my recipes that I have something called Perfect B&W. What I have in here is just a recipe of what I call my perfect black and white photo. There's Homestead black and white, and that is in the stylets already. I will show you that. Black and white. So Homestead is this one right here. That is Homestead black and white. So as you can see, I don't like all of it. I don't like the kind of sepia tone of it, so I don't use it. I bring the toning down all the way to 0%. And I change other things in the way that I like it, and same with everything else. In Homestead black and white, I like the muddiness of the photo, just a touch muddy. For a black and white photo, I don't like too much of contrast, like say Brooklyn black and white would have. Yeesh, I don't like it. And even Banff would have, and Milk and Cookies, just too much contrast for me. I like a soft black and white. And so I have all these things, a sharpening tool, contrast, all that stuff, and that makes up for my perfect black and white photo. I apply that. All right, hooray, now we have beautiful Laurel in beautiful black and white. So that is basically how I edit my photos. I didn't get in crazy depth because that would be a very long video, but maybe later I'll make more videos, maybe some like touch-ups using Photoshop, maybe culling photos in Bridge. We can do batch editing, naming, and batch renaming files, and maybe even some easy editing with no third-party software, like if you don't have Totally Rad Actions or RadLab. There are still other ways to edit photos in Photoshop. So remember to visit Let Birds Fly, that is me right there, and visit Megan at Eat Live Make, and we will have our videos up for you intermittently throughout the next few months, maybe more and more videos. That would be fun, yeah? Also go to gettotallyrad.com for RadLab and other products like Actions and things like that. But that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!